Dear brothers and sisters in Jesus Christ, I welcome you all to reflect with me on the theme, Where are you? The question in the form of this theme, Where are you? explains quite well all the readings of the 10th Sunday of Ordinary Times. As we celebrate the 10th Sunday of Ordinary Times, it is important we ask the question, the same question which God addressed to Adam and Eve, where are you? The biblical passages often explain this question with the pattern of an event. The important questions that God asks us to humanity are always coupled with events that narrate and explain the significance and outcome of this question. The first reading explains us how this question, where are you, is discovered in the Garden of Eden. In the Garden of Eden, Adam and Eve are attracted to a tree. The tree, the forbidden tree, as the book of Genesis explains to us. They are enticed by the serpent, and the serpent tricks them, and they fell prey to the enticement of the Satan. They had doubt because they wanted to attain knowledge, and they doubt, but they begin to listen to Satan and not to the promise that God had given to them. So therefore, the event of the Garden of Eden, where Adam and Eve are hiding, are now called upon to respond to this question raised to them by God, where are you? The where are you question is not a simple question. It's somehow connected to an extraordinary reality, the reality of truth against the reality of sin. This event explains to us and also gives us a kind of pattern to understand the origin of sin or the reality of sin. That we desire to become God Himself. We forget the God who created us, and we forget that we are creatures of God. And thereby, as we have this desire to gain upper hand over God, we fall prey to the enticement, to the temptations that in a way entangle us to the cause of despair. My dear brothers and sisters, the event that happens in the Garden of Eden, in a kind of conversation with God, Adam, and Eve, enables us to understand if we desire something beyond the reality of God, we will definitely fail in our undertakings, and we will be burdened by the reality of sin, because sin is simply the absence of God's presence, and that is how the event in the Garden of Eden explains to us. And today, if the same question is asked to you and me, where are you? If we are in the presence of God, definitely we will be closer to the reality of truth. The same question, where are you, is revealed a bit differently in the second reading from the second letter of Corinthians. Here Paul begins to focus on a new kind of body, when we are here on earth or when we are in heaven. So this is the kind of focus. Here, when we are on earth, we are bound by perishability. We are bound by the corruption of this world. We are, in a way subjected to a kind of little sufferings. But if we can overcome them with the understanding and knowledge that God has given to us through the Spirit, definitely we will be focusing ourselves to the reality of truth. And the reality of truth is that we experience the power of the Spirit, that we experience the same faith given to us through Jesus by the empowerment of the Spirit. We all share the same spirit of faith. Where there is same spirit of faith, there is another Garden of Eden filled with God's presence. Where there is the spirit of faith, the same faith, we are in a way marching towards a kind of eternal reality. So therefore, St. Paul reminds the community at Corinth that this world is passing, and a world that is eternal is somehow enveloping us. And for this, we need to remain in purity, and then we need to abide by what God has given to us. Understanding this reality, we see ourselves what is happening in our lives, but we see ourselves and what is happening in our lives with a kind of knowledge how the unseen reality ordained for us and promised for each one of us by God directs us and guides us. Much more than this question, where are you, is very pertinent and is understood quite differently when we compare this question to the gospel passage of today, taken from St. Mark chapter 3, the concluding part of this chapter. A wonderful conversation is happening. A wonderful conversation is not so pleasant, but at the same time a wonderful conversation because the conclusion that Jesus is giving to all those who are listening to him. What is that kind of conversation that we are interested? We are like others who have come with an accusation, or are we like mother who are standing outside, or are we inside like those people who long for Jesus and who would like to listen to Jesus? Jesus communicates to us anything can be forgiven except the blasphemy against the Spirit. Why this kind of attention that Jesus is giving to us today is because Jesus is the embodiment of the Spirit. The Spirit of God completely dwells in him, and therefore all of us, we approach Jesus with doubt, or all of us who in a way do not believe strongly in Jesus, we are in a way going away, far away from the Spirit of God. Therefore Jesus, when he is condemned or accused that he is another representation of Beelzebul, Jesus corrects their vision through several parables: the parable of a strong house, the parable of the kingdom, and also the parable how Satan, if it stands against itself, cannot survive. If a kingdom stands against itself, it cannot survive. And similarly, Jesus tells us when we are interested in him, he wants us to know where we are standing. He is inviting you and me today to stand at the right place, like celebrating God's mysteries, wherein we will imbibe more of God's Spirit and follow him faithfully. May God bless you and me. Amen.